Hello and welcome to episode 48 of the Victorian Studio podcast. My name is Maureen and I'm coming to you from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada on Tuesday, September the 27th, 2016. Welcome to all new and returning viewers. I hope you enjoy your visit with me in my studio today. Well, this week I have a fair amount of knitting to share with you, also some sewing, a little bit of yarn dyeing, and some new acquisitions related to a very exciting new knit along that I'll be participating in. But first, the Canada KAL. I can't believe that September is already coming to an end, and that means the Canada KAL is also coming to a close. As of midnight, September the 30th, I'll be locking the thread on our Ravelry group. So if you have some projects that you're entering into that knit along and you're a member of the Victorian Studio podcast group, be sure to get those in before midnight on the 30th. I will lock that thread and then I will use random.org to choose winners that I will announce on the next podcast episode. So good luck to everyone. Can't believe we have over 150 projects in that thread. It's been wonderful to see so many beautiful dyers, Canadian dyers, designers, Canadian-inspired designs. Thank you everyone for sharing everything. And thank you to Selma, Sue, and Lynn at the Two Tangled Skeins podcast for coming up with this wonderful idea of a Canada KAL and sharing it with other Canadian podcasters. I've really been so thrilled and honored to co-host this in my very own podcast group. So it's been a wonderful 3 months, and I can't believe that it's already coming to an end. Now, speaking of winners, I'll just review for the last time, at least before I give them away, the prizes that will be given away for the members of our group. So there'll be 5 winners from the Victorian Studio Podcast Ravelry group, and 2 of them will be getting project bags and matching notions bags that I've sewn up myself with the maple leaf fabric, of course. And also they're both lined with this great plaid lining, and they have a Canada maple leaf charm on the zipper. So there'll be 1 winner will get these 2, another winner will get this second set, and we also have 3 other prizes that I've put together. These are sets of stitch markers and progress keepers that are Canada inspired, so they're red and white, of course, and with the maple leaf progress keeper. And along with those 3, each one of those will also be accompanied by some Canadian chocolate, which really is amazing that I haven't dipped into before now. So good luck to everyone, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the winners in our knit along group. So thank you everyone. It's been wonderful to see all of those great projects. And also it's been a great inspiration to get my own projects done, and I'm very excited to be able to share with you my last Canada Knit Along project that I entered into other Canadian podcaster groups, FO threads, and that's my PHN sweater. So if you've been here before, you'll know that I've been working on this since July the 1st. And what started this all off was when my mom moved out of their home, she destashed a lot of her wool. And some of that was some white buffalo yarn. And I was intrigued with this and realized that this was the yarn that very iconic Canadian jackets or sweaters are made from, called PHN sweaters. So here's the project bag that I've had it in. Again, I made this, and this is a nice big one, same as the others that I had sewn up for the prizes. And it's been holding my vintage pattern book that I got on Etsy from White Buffalo yarn, and this is from the 70s. And the jacket or sweater that I decided to do is what they call a polar bear jacket, although the bear on there doesn't look very polar bearish to me. So what I did was I redesigned both the bear, and I had to redesign quite a bit of the stitch counts because I ended up only having enough White Buffalo yarn to really do the polar bear in on the back of the jacket. The rest of the jacket I decided to use some Cascade yarns. And so I used their ecological wool, both in gray and an oatmeal color for the main colors of the jacket. And each of these are 250 grams or 478 yards each, or 437 meters each. So it was a lot of huge skeins of wool that you've probably, if you've been here before, had seen, all caked up. And I also used some Ultra Alpaca Chunky from Barocco for some white sections of the design. And lastly, second lastly, on a quest for fiber, I used some of this beautiful Merino Angora blend for some more of the white design work. This I used for the front two polar bears on the jacket. And lastly, I used some of the vintage White Buffalo yarn. It's almost like a roving that I used for the polar bear design on the back of the jacket. So this is very interesting yarn. It's not like anything I've worked with before. It's more like a roving, and it's a 6-ply roving that you can get in multiple colors. My mom gave me some gray and some brown and some white, but there really wasn't enough to do a whole jacket, of course. So I thought, because this was very special and truly vintage, I wanted to use it on a very special part of my jacket. So that's the White Buffalo yarn. Now, because the patterns are designed to use this that's very, very thick, I obviously had to change the stitch count quite a bit on my jacket, as well as redesigning the polar bear itself. So I was just showing you ball bands because I completely used up the Barocco bulky alpaca yarn, and this is what I have left of the Cascade yarns. Yes, I played yarn chicken and won. I can't believe that that's all I have left of those two huge skeins of Cascade ecological wool. That's a Peruvian highland wool. And yeah, I had to do a little finagling at the very end to make sure I had enough. But basically I have enough if I ever have to do repairs to it. But other than that, it was all used up. Also, quickly, before I show you the jacket, the needles I used for this were some size 13s, and all I had in size 13 in circular needles, because I like knitting with circular needles. Even though this was knit flat, I liked using these circulars because it's easy to hold larger pieces on this. So I just use these bamboo, these are clover bamboos. So size 13 for the main part of the body, and then some size 10.5 for the cuffs. So I will show you my finished project. I'm so pleased to have finished this. And it's going to be kind of hard to show you here. So what I'll do is I'll pop in here a picture of my sweater on my mannequin here in my studio. So yeah, I finished this just a few days ago, and here is the sweater all complete. As I said, it was knit flat and then sewn together. So there's the front two polar bears, and they are facing each other. And there's pockets and a design on the bottom before the bottom ribbing. and then the back polar bear that's done in the white buffalo yarn roving. I'm really pleased with how that turned out. And as I said, I designed the polar bears myself because they are quite different than the vintage design. And there's also a few other things that I had to do. When it was quite obvious that I was going to be running out of yarn, I had to finagle a little bit. When it came to doing the collar of the jacket, it's supposed to all be done in your main color, or this oatmeal color. And what I had to do was finish it off with a few stripes of the gray that I had left over and a little bit of white, just to make sure that I finished it off. So I don't think it looks that obvious that it was kind of a fix at the last minute. It doesn't look too bad to me. So yeah, I was very lucky that I had just enough to finish that collar off. And it's funny because when you're doing the pattern, it calls to do the front panels and then the inside of the pockets. And I started doing the inner flaps for the pockets, and then I stopped and rewound the yarn back up again because I was doing it in this oatmeal color. And I thought, boy, if I come to the end and I run out of yarn, I'm going to be sorry that I wasted, that yarn for something that you really don't see much of, the inside of the pocket. And sure enough, I didn't have enough yarn. So I'm so glad that I stopped and decided to do the pockets the very last, so that I just used up the last of my white yarn. I'll just take it off the hanger here. So the insides of the pockets were actually done with the Barocco yarn, and I think they look okay. Who sees the inside of the pockets, really? So I was very pleased with that, and also it's the first time I've ever sewn anything on my sewing machine that I've knitted, and I sewed in that zipper, and that went really well. I think practicing by sewing in zippers in all these project bags really did help when it came to sewing it in on my jacket. And you'll notice I have a little polar bear charm on the zipper pull, and that's a funny story. I found that in my stash. I got this little polar bear. It's some kind of a stone. I got that years ago when I got one of my first cell phones, and it was all the rage to have cell phone charms. And so that was on my cell phone for a few years, and when I traded up my cell phone and no longer had that little hook on the cell phone to put a charm on, I just threw it in my jewelry stash. So I'm so glad that I found that again, because it's the perfect addition, I think, to my sweater. So yeah, I'm really pleased that I got this done, and also got it done in time. I'm really hoping to wear this to the Manitoba Fibre Festival that daughter and I are going to be attending this Friday night. So I think it will be cool enough. It's been going down to the single digits at night here already in Celsius. So I'm really looking forward to hopefully wearing my brand new PHN jacket or sweater to the Manitoba Fibre Festival this weekend. So yeah, it was wonderful to get that off the needles and finished up. Oh, at the very end, I was trying it on. As I said, I knit it flat and then sewed it up, which was great because I would try it on as I went and as I was putting it together. And the two front panels ended up being too wide. I was really, guessing with the stitch counts as I was going. So the two front panels were a little too wide, but it ended up being really good that they were, because what I did was I just ended up folding those over and having a nice finished edge on the front side of the, or the inside of the front of the jacket. So it was a nice finished edge on that. So if I have my jacket open when I'm wearing it, you don't see all of that strand work that you can see in the back in the front of the jacket. So that ended up working out just perfectly. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that, and looking forward to wearing it now that it's actually nice cool fall weather that I really just love. So, and also I made sure that I entered that into all the other Canada KAL threads that the other podcasters have had up as well. So it's been a lot of fun to share it on those too. So thank you, everyone. I'm really sad to see the Canada KAL come to an end, but the ladies at Two Tangled Skeins have been hinting that they may do this again next year. So if so, I can hardly wait to participate and hopefully co-host again. So the other knit along that I've been co-hosting, I was thrilled to have Kim at Me and My Dog and Some Yarn podcast accept my offer to co-host her Socktember knit along, and that's where participants can enter in socks from September the 1st to November 30th for prizes both in her podcast group and in mine. So it's been wonderful. We have about 40 entries already in our group, so that's been great. Thank you everyone for sharing all your wonderful socks. I always love having a pair of socks on the needles, so it's been great to see all the different patterns and colors and yarns that are being used. So I thought I would also share with you the prizes that we have for that knit along. And Kim, I didn't mention last episode, Kim would quite graciously offered to donate one of her bags to the Victorian Studio podcast group for a prize. So one of her project bags, they're so beautiful. So thank you so much, Kim. I also sewed up a couple of bags. So this is going to be one prize altogether. This is a larger project bag in this bird fabric, and a matching notions bag, and also to go with that set, a set of stitch markers and progress keeper. And the progress keeper has a feather on it in the bird theme, as well as a feather charm on the zipper of the project bag. Both the project bag and the notions bag have this wonderful material that has bird names on it. So really love this fabric. It's so pretty, and I hope somebody really enjoys winning that. So those 3 items are up for prizes in that knit along with the second prize of Kim's bag. And like I say, that goes until November 30th. So if you're knitting socks, be sure to enter. There's still lots of time to participate in that knit along. So speaking of socks, I thought I would share with you a couple of projects that I have on the needles right now. One you've seen very recently. That's my pair of socks that I'm doing with the leftover yarn from my maple leaf shawl that I dyed up. And I chose Mina Phillips' Pebble Socks pattern to make these out of. And this is the first pattern in her Beyond Vanilla Socks set. She has part 2 out also. So this is the first one in the simplest pattern. And what I love about these is the pattern on the front. It's a wonderful texture on the front. And then she just does the plain stockinette on the back. And the other thing I really love is Mina taught me, both in her pattern and her video tutorial, how to do a German short row heel. So that was wonderful to learn how to do that. So I didn't get a lot done on these socks in the last couple of weeks, and there's a reason for that I'll share with you in a little bit. Didn't get any more done on the second sock here. I always do my socks 2 at a time, but on separate needles. I did get a little more done on this one past the heel. I'm working my way down the foot now. So yeah, these I'm calling my pumpkin spice socks because obviously the orange color. I think they're very, very appropriate for fall. And yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing those off, but I'm kind of holding off. I want a few works in progress because it's going to count for another knit along that I'm going to be participating in. So there's the first set of socks that I've kind of got on hold for just a little bit. The second pair is something that I've been remiss This poor bag was buried underneath a few other bags under my desk, and I didn't realize that I never finished my Wallaby Way socks. Very kind Sarah at the Pearls of Color podcast asked me to test knit her pattern back in June called Wallaby Way. And these socks are wonderful in that her pattern is so comprehensive. She's got instructions for knitting them toe up, cuff down, and with 3 different sea creatures that you can choose to have your patterning in. So it was wonderful doing the test knit for her. And what I did was I did the one sock so that I could get back to her with my findings and, you know, suggestions and that kind of thing. And then I never realized that I didn't finish the second sock. So here's the first one again. And I dyed up this yarn especially for this test knit. I both dyed up the yarn and created the project bag and notions bag in similar colors. This project bag is made from fabric that I had printed at Spoonflower with my own sea turtle drawing on it. So I was really excited to participate because sea turtle, she had turtles in her pattern and other sea creatures. Thought that would be great, but unfortunately the yarn that I dyed up was too variegated to really show off her wonderful pattern very well. So I did just the one sea turtle at the top of the sock, and it's unfortunately kind of hard to see in this yarn. I really should have had more of a solid color or a lightly variegated yarn for this, but I did finish the one sock and I really enjoyed making that. It's a little bit shorter, and then when I realized I never finished the second one, again I'm holding it off because I'm going to be participating in a knit along that is giving points for works in progress. So I'm going to be sure to finish this off, Sarah, and finally have my Wallaby Way socks completed. So yes, so that's sock set number 2. Okay, so the other things that I wanted to share with you that I've been working on over the last couple of weeks are some smaller projects. I've been trying to get a few things to put in a gift box for Christmas time, and so I've been working on a few dishcloths, and they make great little gifts you can pop in with some nice scented soaps and that kind of thing. So they're also a nice take-along project, say working on at lunch hours and that kind of thing. So I started a few of them, again building up a list of works in progress for a very special project a little bit later. So I had completed one dishcloth a little while ago and started 2 more, again using this Bernat Handicrafter yarn that I just picked up at Michael's. I'll have to pick up some more of that when it goes on sale again, and because I really like using the white yarn for this cotton yarn. I don't mind knitting with. I know some people don't really like knitting with cotton because it's like knitting with string, but it really does make a really nice wash or dishcloth. So this is the next one that I've been working on, and this one has a little bit of a different lace design in the center. It is called, I believe it's the Ears of Grain. Let's see, yeah, Ears of Grain washcloth. I believe this one is a free pattern on Ravelry. It's very pretty. I love the design there. So I'll probably end up making a few of these. And yeah, it's very basic, square dishcloth, starting with a garter stitch border and then doing the lace work up the center of it. So it only takes a little while to get these done, but I did want to just get it started so that I can finish working on it during a special work in progress KAL. So that one again in the white, and that was my last ball of white yarn that I had, or white cotton yarn that I had for that. So what I did for my next one is I used some, again, cotton yarn, but this time it is Casual Friday, it's called. If I can find the ball band here. There we go. I had to take it off because this loops and thread yarn is a little bit thinner. So what I'm doing is I took the ball band off so I can work 2 strands at a time. So what I'm doing is not only pulling from the center as normal, I'm also pulling at the same time from outside the ball so I can double up that yarn. And I'm making a very nice squishy, it's very, very soft washcloth in this pretty, this green color. I've done one of these previously for myself in blues. It's like a denim blue, and it's really nice. And they're really hard wearing washcloth, and I really like the bumps. And this pattern is called the Simple Weave Washcloth by Shanna Shasteen. And again, it's a free pattern. I just retyped it out from her, I think it was on her blog or website. So I just typed that out for my own reference. But again, it's probably one that I'll do a few different washcloths for gifts this year. So that one's probably about 1/3 of the way done. And yeah, I'll continue working on that in the next month or so. All right. Now, the last knitting project that I wanted to share with you was something that I just started a couple of days ago. I figured I had socks on the needles and I had some washcloths, but I wanted to have something a little more interesting. And so what I did is I was looking through my library of patterns and found a really nice shawl, again a free pattern on Ravelry, by a designer that I used a pattern for previously, and that was my vampire shawl. And the designer's name is Justyna Lorkowska, I believe is how you pronounce it. And so I found this really nice simple shawl pattern that looked really easy to do. And I thought I would do something in maybe a fall color. And so to do the fall project, one of my first fall projects, I thought I could create a project bag to keep it in. So this is a new to me bag that I sewed up on the weekend. And a few episodes ago I showed some material, I guess it was quite a few months ago. The local fabric store was discounting all of their Halloween and Easter, I believe, fabrics really cheap, like for about $5 for a couple of yards. So I ended up getting this black cat crossing Halloween fabric. And what I love about it, of course, is the cats on it. And this fabric comes in panels, and you can see there's another cat at the bottom here. But these panels are all different sizes, so I wanted to make a couple of bags. So what I did was I took the biggest 2 panels to make the sides of my project bag, and then I used part of the edging of the material to make the handle. And then the smaller designs of the fabric I made a notions bag out of. Again, black cat crossing. I thought it was so cute. And of course, being a home with a black cat, I thought it was very appropriate. So I also got some really nice orange fabric for the inside. And this orange fabric is called Toil and Trouble. So perfect for Halloween. So I used that for the liners for both bags. And then when I was at the charm store that I mentioned before, Shakti, I was getting some other charms for another project that I was doing. I found this little charm, a little black cat on a moon. So I thought that was very appropriate for these project bags. So my Halloween project is going to be the Close to You shawl, by Justyna Lorkowska, and it's free on Ravelry. and it's very, very basic. It's a one-page pattern, and basically the instructions are about that long. And you just do them over and over again. It really reminds me a lot of the hitchhiker shawl, and you'll see why in a second here. Now the yarn that I've decided to do this in, I decided I was going to dip into my stash and use one of the yarns that I really was hanging on to for something special, and that's the Woolen Vine yarns by Kristen. And this is on her Volca base, and it's the Mexican Hot Chocolate colorway. I was lucky enough to snag this a while ago, and I thought instead of having it sit in my stash for a long time, I really needed to use it, and it's so wonderful. It's 80% merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. So I really love the rusts and pops of red in there. It really is beautiful. And so I just began this. I even made a little needle holder as well. So as I said, I just started this. I believe it was just even yesterday that I started this. And it does remind me of the hitchhiker, because you do bind off to make these little serrated edges to the one side. So you basically start at a small part of a triangle, and it gradually gets larger and larger to make an irregular shaped triangular shawl. But I really love the lace work in that. It's really coming out pretty. So yeah, this is fun to do another shawl. It's been a while, I think, since I've done a shawl. I guess my maple leaf shawl was the last one I did. So yeah, it's fun to get back and get another one on the needles. And again, another work in progress for a very special knit along. So I think, yeah, that's the projects that I've currently got on the needles. The next thing that I wanted to share with you was just a little bit of yarn dyeing that I did on the weekend. The reason why I wanted to do just a single skein of yarn is I wanted to create a shawl that I found a pattern on Ravelry, and I really couldn't find, believe it or not, a yarn that I really wanted to use in this. So I decided to pull a skein out of my stash and over dye it. Now the pattern that I chose was a paid-for pattern on Ravelry called the Eagle Twist, and it's a beautiful shallow shawl that's done usually in two colors, and it really looks nice when they're two more solid or lightly variegated or tonal yarns. So I had some black that I will show you that I was going to use, but the second color that I wanted to pair up with the black was one that I was really stumped on. So this pattern, it's from 2015 by Dennis Marquez, and it's all garter except for a cable twist that runs down the center. I thought was really interesting, and it's basically a unisex pattern. So his pattern he showed pictures of is done in grays and really nice blue, and that looked really, really dramatic. And so what I thought I would do is use some hand spun for one of the colors, and this is the black alpaca that I spun up during Tour de Fleece this year. So there's plenty there for that shawl. So that was going to be color number one. But the second color is the one that I really got stumped on. I had some orange hedgehog fibers that I thought would look cool, but I'm already doing a few orange colored projects. Pardon me, I had a few other skeins, but they were more variegated. So what I thought I would do is pull out a skein of yarn that I got from the Manitoba Fibre Festival, I believe last year, called Tog and Thel. And let's see, have the label here. It's 75% merino, 25% nylon and 462 yards. So it's a very nice yarn, but what I mean, it was in one of my favorite colors, a lighter turquoise, but the second color in the yarn, and it was more variegated, was beige, and I really didn't think that those two colors would go well with the black. I really wanted more of just a tonal, bright blues and greens in this yarn. So I got out my dyes on the weekend and over dyed it. And I'll show a picture of what the yarn used to look like here. And here it is, over dyed. I really love that it came out more of a jewel tone, and I think it will look really nice with the black alpaca in this shawl. So I used ice blue in the landscapes dyes and fern green, and there are some bits of green that I really love that came out really quite nicely. And I also speckled a little bit of the blue in there as well while it was in the pot. So yeah, I'm really pleased with the way that turned out, and I think it will look a lot better rather than being highly variegated to being more of a tonal, you know, a lighter variegation with the black in that shawl. So it was fun to get dyeing again, and yeah, I'll hopefully cast this on before the next episode, and I can show you how my eagle twist shawl is coming along. So the next thing I thought I would talk about is the upcoming Toy Knit and Crochet Along with the lovely ladies from Pen, Hook and Needles, and also Kim at Me and My Dog and Some Yarn podcast. Marlisha and Talia were so kind to invite me back to co-host this, and I was just thrilled that I was asked once again to participate, and really excited about this KAL. It's going to be starting in a couple of days, October the 1st until December 31st. We will once again be starting a thread in our group for any toys that are knit or crocheted. I will put in a combined chatter and finished objects thread in my Ravelry group, so all the rules will be there. You have to be a Victorian Studio podcast group member to be eligible for prizes, but all the particulars about the KAL will be in that thread, so I'll make sure I link that in my show notes. So very excited that that's going to be starting. I can't believe it's already time for the Toy Knit Along once again, and I'm so thrilled also to once again have the support of Stephanie from Stitchcraft Marketing and Ancient Arts Yarns. They're going to be both providing prizes for this knit along once again this year. They were so wonderful last year, and so we're still in discussions of what that's going to include. Once the prizes do arrive, I'll be sure to show them here on the podcast, and I'll probably be sewing up a project bag or maybe more for prizes as well. And those will be mostly prizes that will be awarded at the end of the KAL. But like I did last year, I'm also going to do monthly prizes for free Ravelry patterns. So once a month at the end of October, November, and December, I will be drawing names from that Chatter and Finished Objects thread for a $10 US or less giftable Ravelry pattern. So once you get your projects in there and do some chatter, you'll be eligible for those drawings as well. So looking forward to a really fun knit along and crochet along, and looking forward to not only seeing what you all have to produce, but I have to think about what I'm going to be making as well. I've got a few ideas percolating, but next episode I'll probably be sharing with you more what I'm going to be doing for the Toy Knit Along as well. So very exciting. Thank you so much, Stephanie from Stitchcraft Marketing. Thank you to the people at Ancient Arts Yarns, and thank you to Marlisha and Talia for asking me to once again come along for the ride, a very fun ride this fall. I'm really looking forward to it. So one of the last things that I wanted to share with you is one of the reasons why I did some sewing this weekend. That was because I wanted to create another Harry Potter themed project bag for a very special KAL that I'm going to be joining in with on October the 1st as well. So if you've been here before, you'll know that in the spring I created, I sewed up a Harry Potter themed bag because I was doing my Gryffindor socks at the time. So I got some material on Spoonflower, and this is like the Marauders map in Harry Potter, but it's the actual map for the Orlando Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And I visited there, so I love all the references to this map in this fabric. So I was really pleased to get this. This is quite a large bag because it was a large map. I didn't want to cut anything off. And the inside of the bag, I used another Harry Potter themed fabric for. And they're like book pages with quotes from the Harry Potter books. But each one of these pages isn't very big, and it's bordered by a white border. So it was really hard to make anything other than just a notions bag out of those pages and that fabric. But I had more of it. I really wanted to make a project bag with that material as well. So what I thought I would do is just border it with another material and make a larger project bag. So that's what I did on the weekend. So this is the other project bag that I created this past weekend. Again, it's the Harry Potter quotes pages on both sides. But in order to make it big enough, what I did was I had some black material that I made strips along the top and bottom and both sides to make it big enough to create a project bag out of. So I also have a handle and just lined it with some beige material. I didn't want to use the black inside or it'd make it too hard to see what's in there. And when I was at Shack Tea, I also found a really nice owl medallion, so I thought that would make a good zipper pull for this bag. So the reason why I wanted to make a second Harry Potter project bag is I'm going to be doing a few Harry Potter related projects this fall as well, because I've joined in on the O-Loops Harry Potter Knit Along. Now this has been something that's been going on for a few years. I believe this is year 4 for this knit along, but since I only started knitting a couple of years ago, I've watched from the sidelines and thought, oh, that really looks interesting to participate, but it was also kind of daunting, kind of confusing to me at first to understand how the knit along worked. But I've been watching Lisa at Knitting by the Sea podcast. It was formerly the Ichigo Abroad podcast with her daughter. But I love watching Lisa and seeing her get all excited about this knit along that's going to be starting in a few days. A couple of weeks ago, I finally bit the bullet and decided to see if I could still join in on the fun. Now, the only thing that you had to do was buy one skein of O-Loops yarn, and when you bought that skein, you would be sorted into a house in Hogwarts, like Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, or Hufflepuff. And when you got your yarn, you found out what house you would be sorted into, and then you joined in that house's activities. There's certain projects that are mandatory throughout the 3-month knit along, and then there's extra credit projects that you can do and all kinds of fun. So Lydia at O-Loops had some wonderful Harry Potter themed yarn, and so it was one that you had to purchase to be sorted into a house. And I was so lucky I got one of the last skeins of yarn. So I was really amazed because people join in on this very quickly, and so the yarns were selling out quite quickly, and I was just very, very lucky that I had decided in time and was able to snag one of the very last skeins of yarn. So I've been waiting and waiting and waiting to receive my package and find out what house I've been sorted into. And lo and behold, today, just before I started podcasting, in my mailbox is my package, and I haven't opened it yet. And so what I thought I would do is open it live on the podcast so that we can all find out together what house I'm going to be sorted into. So the package is over here. So here's the envelope from Old Loops, and you can see it has not been opened. My apologies in advance for any crinkling, because there's going to be a fair amount of it in this. So yeah, I've been waiting and waiting to receive this package because there's already been lots of chatter and people putting projects in. And one of the things that they do during the Knit Along is they have what's called detention, and that's where you put in your works in progress and you try to complete them during the KAL. So that's why I have all my projects that I was just waiting to put into detention so I could finish them up. So that's why I haven't finished those socks or those dishcloths and that kind of thing, so I can even put in my shawls, but I have to do that before October the 1st. And so I was getting fairly anxious and hoping that I was going to receive this package before the 1st so I could participate. So I will open this now, and I have Butterscotch, my knitted lion from a previous toy along. I knit him a Gryffindor scarf for luck because I really want to be sorted into Gryffindor house. On Pottermore, both the new Pottermore and the old, I was sorted into Gryffindor, and in the Harry Potter Hex website, I'm sorted into Gryffindor, and I've done so many Gryffindor projects. And when I went to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter in Orlando, I got all our Gryffindor paraphernalia and Harry's wand and a Gryffindor scarf, and I've made, like I say, a few projects for Gryffindor, so I'm really, really hoping the sorting hat has sorted me into Gryffindor. So we'll find out now. So we'll get this opened and see what happens. Try to do so you can see what's happening here. Okay. So here's some yarn that I ordered, and I will show that to you in a minute. And looks like a few other goodies are in here, but here's the important part. So here's the letter from Hogwarts. Please let it be Gryffindor. Let it be Gryffindor. It says, difficult, very difficult. Plenty of courage, I see, not a bad mind either. There's talent, oh yes, and a thirst to prove yourself. But where to put you? Better be Gryffindor! Yay! I'm so happy. Yes! Oh, that's awesome. The Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Headmaster Albus Dumbledore, Order of Merlin, First Class, Grand Sorcerer, Chief Warlock, Supreme Mugwump, International Confederation of Wizards. Dear Hogwarts student, we are pleased to inform you have been accepted at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Please find enclosed a list of all necessary equipment. Term begins on October the 1st. We await your owl by no later than September 30th. I have just a couple of days to respond. Yours sincerely, Minerva McGonagall, Deputy Headmistress. I can't believe it. I am in Gryffindor. That is so awesome. That is just wonderful. Oh, and look at this beautiful yarn. This is called, I believe, the Letters to No One, or From No One. I'll just remember what this is called. The Letters from No One, and it's the loop to loop, 100% superwash merino, 250 yards. Look at that beautiful, beautiful yarn that Lydia has dyed up. Isn't that wonderful? Now she has a sock pattern that I'm going to make this into because one of the first projects that we are to do has to have something to do with wings, and she has a beautiful sock pattern that has a wing pattern in it, and I will share that with you the next episode. So there is my first Gryffindor project, Hogwarts Railways. Isn't that awesome? Oh, I'm so excited. I can't believe it that I got into Gryffindor. Oh my. what do we have in here? We have, oh, awesome. Of course, jelly beans, just like Birdie Bott's every flavored beans. And some tea. Isn't that nice? Oh, that's just awesome. And let's see, we've got some coupon codes and all kinds of information. So I will open that up a little bit later, but I'm so thrilled to have that and to be a Gryffindor. So I'm going to be doing quite a few projects using my new bag, and I'm also participating in a Halloween at Hogwarts swap, and my swap partner is in Hufflepuff, and she lives in, I believe, New Jersey, so I can hardly wait to put together a swap package that is both Hogwarts and Halloween themed for her. So excited. Oh, that's just awesome. How lucky am I? That's wonderful. Good. So as I mentioned, on Friday, daughter and I will be attending the Manitoba Fibre Festival, so I'm looking forward to that, and of course all of the goodies that I get from there, plus some photos and video, I'll be sure to share on my next episode. And the next episode will be coming up just after the Canadian Thanksgiving. Our Thanksgiving here is Monday, October the 10th. But I'll be recording on the Tuesday. I've switched to Tuesday recordings now, and I will be uploading the videos every second Wednesday. So in 2 weeks' time, I will be sharing more Harry Potter and more Toy Along and Socktember and Fibre Festival goodies. So I'm really looking forward to it. I hope that you can join me again in my Victorian studio at that time. So until then, have a great couple of weeks, everyone, and thank you so much for visiting with me in my studio today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed bringing it to you. So thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Bye-bye.